Ladies and gents, how are you doing? I woke up to some splendid news today, marvellous. Trending on Twitter, I saw the hashtag BBC licence fee, and I thought, oh, nice one. Finally, they're getting shot of the licence fee. Happy days. Alas, as is so often the case, I was only getting half the story, wasn't I? BBC suggests licence fee could be cut if more people pay. From Ian Youngs and David Salito. Whoa, hang on a sec. What do you mean, if more people pay? None of the immigrants pay for them. None of the snack bar boys pay for them. They know the coppers won't be knocking on their door. And finally, the largest demographic of people that don't pay for the licence fee, Scousers. And only one of them demographics is going down, Scousers. So how would you expect more people to pay? If anything, that's the one silver lining to the cloud, isn't it? In 15 years' time, when the whole of Europe is Eurabia, and France and Britain are headed by prime ministers that are members of the death cult, nobody's going to pay either. I think that and seeing Owen Jones take a one-way trip from the top of a multi-storey car park is going to be the only plus points for what is inevitably coming to the UK if the people don't sort their lives out. Still, at least if they need to enact some cost-cutting measures, they might actually get around to removing some of those big statues of kiddie fiddlers off the outside of Broadcasting House, eh? Right, don't get too excited, ladies and gents. The licence fee's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I advocate they don't watch live TV anymore and don't pay for a licence fee anywhere. Or, if you insist on it, you could. I mean, I'm not suggesting it because it'd be illegal. But you could also go for the draw your curtains, black out all your windows, and never answer the door technique. That works as well. I believe your average tight-fisted Scotsman likes to apply that technique. But we'll read the story anyway, and then I'll give you my thoughts as usual. So the BBC suggested the cost of the licence fee could be cut in return for getting more people to pay the annual charge. Yeah, of course they could. And my granny could be my granddad if she had a cock. Yeah. Shame she doesn't, isn't it? The corporation made the suggestion as part of its response to the government's publication of the Green Paper, which explores options for the BBC's future. Here's a good option. Option 1. Bulldoze the f***ing thing. Easy. A nice, elegant, simplistic solution we can all agree on. Preferably while Match of the Day's going out live. I know Gary Lineker doesn't work there anymore, but I'm sure any Aluko or someone we don't like will be in the studio. The number of households paying the licence fee has gone into significant decline in recent years, and the BBC said its funding model is in need of reform. No shit. Have you noticed how at no point have they ever sat down and said, why has the licence fee gone into significant decline? Why? Because you're liars, proven liars, and you cover up for kiddie fiddlers. And I've seen Hugh Edwards' cinnamon ring, you filthy bastards. I didn't want to see that. His shit locker went viral. I'm sick of seeing it. In fact, I've probably seen more of his arse cheeks than me own. Because other than like walking past a full-length mirror and, I don't know, coincidentally glancing backwards at some point, I don't really see my ring piece very often. No, weird that, innit? The corporation noted 94% of adults use its services each week, but the number of households paying has dropped to 80%, with a downward trend set to continue. Yes, through the floor, because every week more people wake up and realise that your detestable, disgusting, deeply immoral, brainwashing diddler organisation is full to the rafters with the dregs of humanity. That's why it's set to continue. Christ almighty. That's like having a headline like, distaste for malaria set to continue. Of course it's set to continue. Nobody likes it. The corporation confirmed it will have to cut spending by another 500 million. Thank Christ for that. They also said reducing the licence fee would be a bold move, but an option in return for finding a way to get more people to pay. The whole world's just ran by imbeciles, isn't it? How much are they paying the Director General at the BBC now? How much? I'd do it for a tenner a month, and I'd give them more sage advice than any number of consultations and highly paid middle-class guardian reading arseholes could come up with in a month of Sundays. The BBC is leaving the government to decide how the licence fee should be reformed, and Tim Davies said the choice is clear. Back the BBC or watch it decline. The status quo is not an option. That second one. The second one, please, Tim. That you'll do for me, son. Timothy, put me down for that second one, old bean. Jolly good. Clear decisions are needed to ensure the BBC is funded sustainably and fairly so it can continue to deliver. How's it fair? How's robbing pensioners fair? How's forcing people who want to watch the football on a Saturday, how's forcing them to give you lying, duplicitous, quizzling, treacherous dogs money? How's that fair? It's extortion, Timothy, you absolute spacker. The corporation is asking the government to take on the full 400 million cost. Brilliant. Yeah, more money we haven't got. It'd be one thing asking the government for 400 million if they were, good with the purse strings and we had loads of cash to throw about. But you might have noticed, Tim, we're currently on a balance of minus 3 trillion, you dopey twat. You can't get blood out of a stone. How are you going to get 400 million out of a government with less money than, well, I nearly said your average tramp, but your average tramp, he's got like 40 pence in his cap. He's got way more money than the British government. You're just going to put everything on the credit card. It's unbelievable. I'd suggest you don't put it on the credit card and we let your detestable, lamentable organisation collapse to the rapturous cheers of the general public. Why don't we just do that? Yeah, why don't we just do that? Isn't Hugh Edwards still getting a pension as well? Isn't he? I'm fairly sure he's still getting paid a massive amount of money. Sorry, taxpayers are giving him a massive amount of money. Think of that. Think of that. Someone as immoral as Hugh Edwards, you're paying his pension. You're buying his lubricant and paying for his premium laminated edition of 101 Choir Boy arseholes. You bought it. Think of that. It's unbelievable. I'm amazed we haven't had like French Revolution style scenes outside the BBC, honestly. If we were French, the FBC would have already been burnt to the ground. They'd be having like the guillotine had been set up outside the BBC years ago, and Gary Lineker's head would have rolled down the steps outside the building. Well, his ears are so big it wouldn't have rolled down. It went down one step and then bounced off at a funny angle. You're like trying to roll the FA Cup down some stairs, but the point remains. This is the best bit, look. The BBC is also arguing that the fact its charter expires every 10 years means its existence is constantly under threat. It wants that system to be dropped so the organisation can be put on a more permanent footing. Yeah, like all evil parasites, it wants to remain forever in perpetuity, regardless of the feelings of the people that pay for it. Unbelievable. Power corrupts, absolutely, doesn't it? And that's what's happened to the BBC. In December, the government published its green paper about options for the BBC's future, which said ministers could consider the right makeup of the board to support independence and accountability. This could include whether or not there should be a change to the government's role in appointing board members, while also maintaining the BBC's independence. It's never been independent. And the Director General and other existing board members, it said. The government's also considering questions about the BBC's funding, accountability, decision-making and charter length, and will also suggest scrapping a defined time period for each royal charter, using citizen assemblies to help make decisions and change its complaints procedures. Okay, so total bollocks. It's not going anywhere. No. What you should take away from this is that very pertinent paragraph there. Rules over who has to pay are felt to be confusing and outdated, yes, because it's required to pay for the consumption of live television. What that means is they've identified the loophole that we all use. I didn't pay for a TV license for years when I was living in York. As soon as I realised the BBC was overtly hostile to me and mine, I stopped paying for it. Honestly, I'd have felt more comfortable sending money directly to Al-Qaeda than I would paying for the BBC. It's unbelievable. People who pay attention are overtly hostile to the BBC. So what did we used to do? We used to have a telly, right? I've done my research. I'm sure lots of you have because you don't want to get nicked. I had a telly, made sure it wasn't tuned into any channels, made sure it wasn't plugged into the aerial, made sure that there was no live broadcast available on the television or tuned to it, and then just plugged my computer in and watched YouTube and, whatever I had downloaded on my computer or what have you. I purposely didn't want to watch any live TV because I refused to give the BBC any money. And you were pretty much cast iron there, weren't you? You know that on the off chance they get a warrant to come in your house, and they can't get a warrant unless they see you watching TV, hence the aforementioned pull the curtains very tight statement, on the 1,000,000 to 1 chance they could somehow get a warrant and go through all the rigmarole and everything that it would take for them to get entrance into your house, then you film them the entire time and they'll walk in, turn your telly on, see that it's not tuned into anything. You can point them and say, there's no aerial, I can't get live broadcasting. And obviously you film them to stop them plugging an aerial in and tuning it themselves or what have you. And you're more or less golden. And now they know that we know that. And now they're trying to find a nice little back door so they can force you to pay, like all authoritarian scum. They want to force you to give them all your money. They want to steal from you. It's disgraceful. So, as I said, you can always tell by the words. Whenever the government or any big, powerful entity uses terms like, oh, yeah, we think it's confusing people, as if you're thick, you know they're changing it so they can thieve off you. Confusing. What's confusing about it? If you don't watch live TV, we don't have to pay you shitbag, lying, scum-sucking ratbags, so we don't watch live TV. That's not confusing. That's like, I could sum that up in one sentence. I hate you. I won't give you any money. Easy. So anyway, the precursor is Labour are treacherous dogs. They'll help them achieve this. They will change the rules and they'll make you pay for it. I guarantee that's what Labour's going to do. Maybe another government, Restore, would probably bin them all together. Farage and Reform, if he has any sense, he'd do the same thing because they've been overtly hostile to anyone right of Keir Starmer for the last 25 years. They're all drinking champagne when Tony Blair got elected, weren't they? We've all heard the stories. Anyway, it's going to get much, much worse before it gets better. You know this. So crime's going to get worse. Immigration's going to get worse. Why wouldn't the BBC and the TV licence and taxation get worse? Why wouldn't they? So buckle up, boys. Like I keep telling you, keep your finger on the pulse. Listen to alternative commentators for any way around the new rules that they're surely going to enforce with ruthless efficiency, because for some reason they're extremely efficient at sending angry letters to tax-paying citizens, but they're not very efficient at like deporting kiddie fiddlers. Weird how that works. So yeah, keep your finger on the pulse, watch what happens, listen to people like me, because we will keep you informed of how best to avoid giving them the money that they demand off you with menace. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Seriously, if you are paying your TV license, stop. Unplug the aerial, get rid of it, reset your TV, don't watch any live television, then give the BBC money, okay? They are a repellent organisation, they are against you, your children, your family, they're against everything you've ever stood for. I would rather dig up the Queen Mother and guide Kim Jong-un into her, well, what remains of her, than give the BBC a single penny, and I suggest you do the same. All right, if you disagree and you think the BBC is marvellous, you're a mental case, so write a comment down there we can all point and laugh at, and I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, thanks for tuning in. Toodle pip. Cheers.